Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Today, my goal is to help you answer the following question. What is a signature project? But before we begin, I'd like to say that if at any point in this presentation you have a question, feel free to submit it through the comment box. If you're using the Google Plus app, the comment box is in the upper right-hand corner of the video screen. If you are watching us through our website, you can submit questions through the comment box underneath the video. At the end of the presentation, the moderator will send me questions and I will answer them as time permits. A signature project is one of 9 extracurricular activities that high school students do to make themselves stand out. What are extracurricular activities? It's the stuff you do outside of classes. But before I talk about what a signature project is, it will be helpful if I provided some context as to where signature projects fit in on the scale of extracurricular activities, or EAs, as we like to call them. On the screen are the 9 categories of EAs. They are listed in order starting from least important at the bottom to most important at the top. Notice that signature projects sit right at the top. For top tier schools such as Stanford, MIT, and Harvard, the more competitive the school is, the more important EAs such as signature projects become. This is why Think Tank Learning has an entire department, that is the consulting department, dedicated to helping students plan their EAs. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details about signature projects, let's take a step back and discuss the 3 components of a college application profile. At Think Tank Learning, we have a 3-circle philosophy that guides our students as they prepare themselves for college. The 3 components are academics, which includes your GPA, standardized tests, such as the SAT, and extracurricular activities, such as signature projects. Today, we will focus just on the extracurricular activities circle, but specifically about signature projects. If you want to hear about the other circles and the sub-circles within them, you will have to wait until future webinars. The general definition of a signature project is a student-led venture that tries to solve a social problem. It's helpful to understand signature projects by knowing their secondary purposes. One is to show colleges and universities that you are a great leader and a great person, not just an academic robot who gets good grades. After all, your GPA is just a number and your SAT score is just a number. Your signature project says things about you that your GPA and test scores cannot. Now that we know what a signature project is, let's get started on answering the follow-up question. So, how do you do a signature project? In answering this question, it is helpful to break down signature projects into 3 key features, each of which I will discuss. The first key feature is this. All signature projects start with the question, what is a problem in society that you notice? What is a problem in society that you notice? Here are examples of common social problems. One is the needs of homeless people, whether it's healthcare needs, shelter needs, food needs, or companionship. 2 is the needs of ethnic minorities who don't speak English. They don't know how to get medical treatment. They don't know the justice system. They don't trust the police. They're afraid to call the police. Okay, these are all social problems. 3 is bullying and teen suicide. That's a problem. 4 is awareness and acceptance of mental health problems in our society. And 5 is something like California's drought and what individuals, families, and organizations can do, right, to help the state battle this dilemma. After picking the problem of your choice, you then get to the second key feature of signature projects, which is captured by the question, how can you improve this social problem? It's important to highlight the word improve, not solve, but improve. These social problems are often too big for one person to solve, but they can be problems that are improved, even if just by one person. Examples of common ways of improving a problem is 1, creating awareness. 2, educating the public. 3, doing fundraisers. 4, donating to charity. And 5, creating a useful resource that you make available to the public. I like to spend some time on the first item, that is creating awareness. Creating awareness on a small scale is usually relatively simple to do, which is why this activity is often misunderstood as being unimportant, right, or is undervalued. But the way society works is that communities and people don't take action against a problem unless the problem reaches a certain, critical emotional point. Therefore, creating awareness turns out to be the first step in solving a major social problem. There is a famous phrase coined by I don't know who, but it goes like this: awareness doesn't change anything, but things don't change until people are aware. So keep that in mind as you go about doing your signature project. After deciding what you want to do about the problem of your choice, you then get to the third key feature of signature projects, which is the question: how is your project related to your future major? For example, English majors might write blogs and ebooks about the struggles of refugees or certain people groups. 2, business majors might create their own companies and do fundraisers to donate to charity. 3, engineering students might teach robotics classes to elementary school students or to schools from disadvantaged neighborhoods. 4, pre-med students might create resources that improve various healthcare issues in society. There is no one right way or right topic to do a signature project, so there is a lot of room for creativity. To quickly recap, the 3 key features of signature projects can be captured by these 3 key questions. 1, what is a problem in society that you notice? 2, how can you improve the situation? 3, how is your project related to your future major? Following these 3 questions will set you on the right path to doing a great signature project. It's important to point out that each signature project should be tailored to individual students. Each student has a unique set of talents and experiences. So consultants, mentors, parents help students to plan a signature project that fits that student. We need to juggle a student's interests, skills, and available time, which is easier said than done, but very doable. So what value does a signature project add to your college application? It adds tremendous value. From your signature project, the college admissions officer learns that 1, you are a person who takes initiative. 2, you start things on your own. 3, you can organize people. 4, you are aware of other people's needs. 5, you are a leader. And 6, that you have a good heart. Speaking of good hearts, we will now shift gears and talk about 4 examples of actual signature projects, and I will also discuss the level of their social impact. Did you know every year about 1 million stray dogs and cats are run over on the roads? If they don't get killed by cars, right, they suffer from diseases and malnutrition. This was a problem that a handful of students decided to take on. They created a club at their high school that would collaborate with organizations in Taiwan. The organizations shipped dogs from Taiwan all the way to San Francisco, California, where the students picked up these dogs, groomed them, bathed them, and eventually found families to take care of them. This project was so heartwarming that it caught the attention of the local newspaper, that is the San Jose Mercury News. The significance of this type of news coverage will be explained later on in this presentation. GPAs and test scores cannot compete against signature projects when it comes to gaining this type of recognition. Example project number 2 was done by a student who loved math and computer science. He often tutored his friends in calculus, but realized that he didn't have time to spend with everybody. So he decided to write a free software program that generates various types of calculus problems. More than that, it gives you hints about how to solve those problems if you put in the wrong answer. This student was accepted into every single UC campus and received the Regents and Chancellor Scholars Award from multiple UCs. This award is given to only 100 incoming freshmen at each campus. Some get full scholarships for 4 years. And I'm pretty sure that his signature project had something to do with it. The third example was done by a student who loved robotics and engineering. Not only was he on his robotics team, but when he went to the library, he noticed that the libraries around him had 3D printers that no one ever used, okay? After asking a few questions, he realized that no one ever used these printers because no one knew how. So he decided to create a free video tutorial and handbook about how to use a software called SketchUp. this free software can control 3D printers. He then gave a presentation and trained the library staff about the software so that they could train future library goers. His gift was one that kept on giving. The last example of a signature project was done by 2 students who cared about preserving the environment. They noticed that too many plastic bags were beginning to collect and pollute their country, so they decided to start a campaign to lobby with their governor. Amazingly, they were able to convince their governor to gradually phase out the use of plastic bags. This project gained them international recognition, and they were invited to give a TED Talk. As you can see on the screen, their TED Talk of their video, right, had over 1 million views. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think a college admissions officer would be impressed if they opened your application, clicked on a link, and were able to watch your TED Talk, which had over 1 million views? You bet it would. Now we're going to shift gears a bit and talk about 2 specific ways that signature projects help you get into college. The Common Application is a central website through which you can apply to many private schools. The Common App has one main essay that you can send to multiple schools. This essay has 5 prompts that you can choose from. This year, essay prompt number 4 is a new one. It states, describe a problem you've solved or a problem you'd like to solve. It can be an intellectual challenge, a research query, an ethical dilemma, anything that is of personal importance, no matter the scale. Explain its significance to you and what steps you took or could be taken to identify a solution. Does this sound familiar? Let's look at some key statements that are in bold. Describe a problem that is of personal importance. What steps you took to identify a solution. It should sound familiar because what this prompt describes is the very thing we've been talking about in this presentation, signature projects. This is good news because signature projects often provide great material for writing personal statements. Now, essay prompt number 4 in the Common App allows you to work on 2 things at once in a very natural way. The second way that signature projects specifically answer what colleges look for is that they provide great topics for discussion during interviews. On the following slides, I will show you actual questions from an evaluation form that the interviewer will fill out after interviewing you. These evaluation questions, are from a top 10 university in the US. The evaluation form will ask the interviewer to rate your academic ability. In other words, how smart you are, or more accurately, how smart they think you are after having talked to you. The question on the form says, please mark the boxes below to rate this student on the following scale. The scale goes from 1 to 6, with 1 being the best. 1 means that the student is truly unusual, as in truly exceptional. At the bottom of the scale is 6, which is described as no rating. Now, no rating is very interesting. It can either mean that the interviewer somehow forgot to ask questions that indicate how smart you are, or it can mean that what you said was so bad, you just left them speechless. Now, great answers can also leave people speechless. So if the interviewer is speechless after you give an answer, it could mean that your answer was great or not so great. In any case, having a signature project to talk about will ensure that your answer will likely be great. Based on this scale, the interviewer will evaluate these 3 categories about you. 1, your love of learning. 2, your intellectual curiosity. And 3, your intellectual originality. Having a great signature project to talk about shows the interviewer that 1, you love learning beyond the classroom. 2, that you have the curiosity to learn things on your own. And 3, that you have the ability to create new solutions or new ways of using old solutions. The evaluation form will also ask the interviewer to rate your extracurricular activities and how you helped your local community. The scale will be from 1 to 5, with 1 being the best. 1 means you got state, national, or international recognition. A 2 means you got local or regional recognition. Notice that the top 2 scores on this scale are earned by gaining recognition from some news site or TV news station. Signature projects are great ways to gain recognition because media outlets like to cover stories about excellent students who do great things. If you created a useful app that people can download free, that might get you coverage. If you're writing an artwork, improve the lives of people who are suffering, that might get you coverage. Signature projects are unique in their ability to raise a student to the level of regional or national superstar. At this point in the presentation, you have been equipped with the ability to start the ball rolling on your own project. In case you need more reason as to why you should start your project this summer, here are a few. 1, you have a flexible schedule because you're out of school. 2, you have time to visit organizations and companies during the weekday when they are at work and you're not in school. This is great for finding partnerships, mentors, etc. Third reason is that you don't have multiple assignments and tests occupying your mind. Everybody has a limited mental and emotional capacity. So now that you're not in school and not preparing to take a test every few weeks, you have a lot more energy to focus on doing a great project. The fourth reason to start your signature project this summer is that since your friends are not in school, they also have time, okay, to help you out. Okay, if you can get your friends to join your team to help you on your project, it's a great way of showing something called leadership. Okay, that you are able to gather different people under the same roof or under the same vision, okay, for the same cause. We have reached the end of our presentation, so I'd like to say that I'd like to leave you with a question. Now that you all know the importance of signature projects and how impactful they can be on your community, I want to ask you, what are you waiting for this summer? I encourage you all to use this summer and start your own project. In fact, whether you are currently working on one, just starting a project, or don't even know where to begin, we can help. Join our Pitch Fest Education Expo on August 27th at the Santa Clara Convention Center. That is again August 27th at the Santa Clara Convention Center. This is the largest college admissions expo in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we are hosting a competition that is open to all students. In this competition, you can pitch your signature project idea. A total of $8,000 will be awarded to the top 3 projects to help fund and further the positive impact that the projects will have on their communities. Workshops will be held by business professionals and investors to help you start a project or to bring your current project to the next level. You can sign up and find out more about this event at the website listed on the screen, www.ttlearning.com/pitchfest2016. We will now transition to the question and answer period.
Okay, now we're at the Q&A section. There is one person that has asked a question, and his question is, Dave, how does a signature project compare to doing research with a faculty member at a university?
That's a great question. They're highly related. A signature project can take on many forms. Since there's no one right way or right topic, the research that you do can become your signature project, in that you can create a useful resource online that other people can learn from, okay? Or you can teach a class based on what it is you learned in that research topic. Again, there is no one right way, so those are just 2 suggestions of many possibilities.
Okay, next question, and this question is, what age would you suggest to start such projects? And what are some exercises one can do in order to start the discovery phase?
Let's start with the discovery phase, because that can happen at very early ages. For the discovery phase, I'd recommend watching the news several times a week, whether it's Google News or watching the evening news. Pay attention to what's important to the local community, to the state, and to the nation. And as you watch these stories, pay attention to 2 things. 1, what concerns you about what you see on the news? 2, what inspires you as you watch what is on the news? Focusing on what concerns you and inspires you will, in time, lead you to a social problem that you will try to do something about. To answer the first question about when is the right time, the summer before 9th grade would be a good time to start the brainstorming process. Of course, some students, if they're conscientious students in 7th, 8th grade, they will probably have a good idea what they want to do by the time they enter high school, though that's not necessarily the case for every student. Even before you are in high school, what you can do is what's called the preparation phase. That is, you can prepare your foundations in basic reading and writing, in communication, so that you have the skills to then contact organizations while you're in high school to partner with you and to sponsor your project.
Great answer, Dave. Here's the next question. Next question is, in what context are these extracurricular activities the most important?
The context is that the more competitive the college or university, the more they take it for granted that you will have a nearly perfect GPA and a nearly perfect test scores. Why? Because they have the luxury of picking from nearly perfect GPAs and test scores. So then how do they evaluate you compared to all the other applicants who have great, grades and scores? Well, they ask, what did you do outside of class that made you awesome? And this is where signature projects make you stand out among your peers.
From Jaylin, they're wondering, they have a campaign called HEAL that they started this year. His question is, would this count as a signature project? My campaign was about improving homelessness in the Bay Area. I hosted a clothing drive called Teens for Jeans that benefited homeless youth and a sock drive in my community. I opened this to my school, outside organizations, and the San Jose area. Therefore, would this be considered a regional project? Additionally, could you provide me with some examples of signature projects that are related to the field of medicine?
Yeah, congratulations on doing a great job so far. What you described definitely is a signature project. And in terms of, so far, it seems like you're in good position to get regional recognition. As to how to get, I guess, further regional or national recognition, there's other strategies that we would help our students with. But let's move on to your question about examples of signature projects for pre-medical students. Was that for people interested in studying medicine?
Yeah, in the field of medicine, related to the field of medicine.
Yeah, so a lot of biology students or students who are pre-med will volunteer at hospitals or clinics. And examples would be creating useful resources in helping, say, survivors of some, disability disease to either cope with their symptoms or to train their family as to where to get help, how to get help, and how to build a community to support them. And so what you need to do is pick a medical problem, all right, whether it's an actual disease or the process of solving or treating that disease, and see how you can provide a useful resource, a handbook, a presentation, a website that somebody can search for and find out ways that cancer survivors can reduce their stress levels while they're going through chemotherapy, something like that.
Lucas posted a question. Is being a Scout Eagle, or is Scout Eagle project a signature project? Not too sure what that. Lucas, if you can clarify a bit, we would love to answer your question.
Yeah, Lucas, thank you for your question. Yes, a number of my students are Eagle Scouts too, and they all have to do an Eagle Scout project. Usually the Eagle Scout project is you have to do some sort of rebuilding or renovation to a local community center. And yes, an Eagle Scout project is great in that, first of all, in order to have reached that level of an Eagle Scout, you have gone through a lot of training, a lot of leadership skills. And Eagle Scout projects can relatively easily be transformed into signature projects with a little bit of creativity and the guidelines that were outlined in this presentation.
Okay, Dave brought up a good point. One question that someone has emailed us is, how can I get support from the community in order to start my signature project? Yeah, and by support, either help or some type of funding or some type of backing from organizations of some sorts?
Yeah, And there's multiple ways of doing this. And the key question for you to ask yourself is, first of all, how can my project further the goals of these organizations? For example, is the city council trying to improve housing situation in certain parts of the city? Is city council trying to improve the schools or encourage an interest in the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, math in certain school districts? And once you find out what these organizations, whether private or public, are interested in, and if your project is aligned with theirs, then it's more likely that they will partner with you. And there's various ways of partnering. Some organizations will give you, a check. Some will just give you a free rental of their facilities, or help you with some marketing through their blog or through their newspaper that they publish. So again, the key is to align your goal with the goal of the organization you hope will partner with you.
Okay, great. Another question. So let's refer back to that slide that you posted, the 1 through 9 extracurricular activities. Someone asked, are the 1 through 9 extracurricular activities that you listed a must for every student?
The general answer is yes. We know that the students who get into the top schools do have each category filled in some meaningful way. Of course, the more competitive the school, the more is expected of the students. And so that's a great question, because the consultants at Think Tech Learning, we spend a lot of our time helping students juggle how to meet these criteria based on what schools they're aiming for. And so the answer is, depending on how competitive the school you're aiming for, yes, they're all important. But depending on which tier or level school you're aiming for, the answer changes.
Okay, great. Next question, submitted by Sean. He asks, what is the recommended team size for a signature project? Is there a particular team size that we're looking for, or does it matter at all?
Project. And the answer is no, there isn't. One person can do a great signature project. 10 people can do a great signature project. The advantage of having a larger team is your ability to show leadership and the ability to delegate work, such that collectively all your efforts make your signature project bigger and better, so to speak. Say if you had 3 people or 4 people, one person can work on, say, the curriculum for a class. One person can work on the website of that class. Another person can work on the videos for that class. And say the 4th person can work on marketing, as in getting people to be aware of that class, to partake and to partner with that class. And so, yes, having a larger team has advantages, but also has its challenges. And so there are certain, the advantages might outweigh the challenges, but at the same time, even if you're a solo team of 1 person, you can still do a great signature project.
Or this is a quote, I want to do a signature project, and I picked one. It's based on making an app to educate kindergarten students about addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Is this a good signature project?
Yes, the answer is it is a good place to start and has a lot of potential. Of course, right off the bat, the fact that it's an app for very young children assumes that whether it's the children or the parents, all right, have the tech savviness to download the app and navigate how to use the app. And so that is a good idea to start with. I would recommend also finding ways in which you can expand the use of that app in your community, and perhaps eventually get some feedback about how it can be improved, so that as you work on your project over the years, it gets better and better.
Oh, we have another good question by Sean. Sean asked, is recognition by a big organization needed as proof of your signature project? I feel like this is a good question.
The answer is it absolutely needed? the answer is not straightforward. Of course, getting recognition from a nationally recognized or internationally recognized organization certainly helps, because the admissions officer, right, they don't know every single organization out there. They know many because they do this for a living. And so if you are sponsored by the Red Cross, or the American Cancer Society, those are names that will probably be recognized by most people, right, in the public. But even if you don't get recognition from a big name place, the signature product can still be very valuable to you and very weighty in your application, because oftentimes in your essays, your personal statements, or the letters that are written for you, those are places where you have room to describe and explain the context of why the recognition that you did receive is worthy of their approval. Whether it's you just helped one person, one grandmother or 10 grandmothers, right? That can still be very significant in the eyes of the admissions officer compared to you, helping raise money for the Red Cross and receive some certificate from them. Hi, I'd like to remind you that if you have any questions that don't come to mind during the remaining minutes of this webinar, feel free to email it to us and we will get back to you. I'd like to remind you, as displayed on the screen, we have an education expo coming up on August 27th at the Santa Clara Convention Center. Feel free to bring your questions there. We'll have workshops and consultants there waiting to talk to you, to guide you on how you can start or further your signature project. This expo also has actual investors there, a panel, a Shark Tank style, for you to pitch your idea. And perhaps you can convince them to offer you $5,000 to further or to start a great idea for you to impact your community.
We have another question that came in. Someone asked, teaching chess for younger kids at home, would that be considered as a signature project? Or can that be considered as a signature project?
Yes, it can, because teaching chess at the surface level, you're teaching somebody how to play a game. But let's take a step back and consider what playing a game might do for that student. It might teach that student discipline. It might keep that student busy after school and out of trouble. It might be an opportunity for you to mentor that student in other areas outside of just playing chess. And so there's room for you to influence and grow this student or students in ways that will turn out to be a great signature project about how you impacted your community.
We have another great question. How can one appear as the leader in a group where multiple people are trying to establish themselves as leaders?
Yeah, and so if that situation where all of your teammates are also applying to college, maybe the same college you're applying to, and it's likely that they'll be talking about the same project on their applications, it's important and this is important not just for college applications, but in the workforce after that, right? It's a skill to learn how to share credit and to take the right amount of credit. There is a certain power in humility that should not be underestimated. And research has shown that the people who not only get to the top of their careers, but also stay there, right, the longest, are people who are able to take the advice of others and share the credit. There's a way about when you share the limelight that bounces, when you shine the light on other people, your teammates, that light inevitably sort of bounces off of them and shines on you a bit too. And so I hope that gives you some, wisdom in navigating, right, this question. So if you want to get more specific advice about your own project and what you should do, feel free to visit one of our centers near you. We have over a dozen centers in the San Francisco Bay Area. Feel free to drop by and ask for a free consultation with a consultant, and they can give you some guidance. So this concludes our webinar. I want to thank you for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. And I'd like to, on behalf of Think Tank Learning, we want to thank you for not just your time, but also the questions you gave us. We love answering these questions. We like to see the level of interest in the community. And so thank you once again. We look forward to seeing you at our future webinars and events. We're here to make your dreams come true.